Hey guys, welcome back to Karting with Chris. Today's video is going to be the NTK Summer 1 final race. Now if you didn't see my pre-final race, what happened is I started in 2nd, dropped down to about 6th, and then just moved up into 5th. Now the strategy for that race was to be in 5th or 3rd, just basically be on the inside for the start of the race. So today's final, I will be in 5th, starting on the inside, and hopefully that will allow me to get the start I need in order to get a decent result out of this race. So I'm going to skip ahead a couple of corners because you don't want to see this boring warm-up lap. So we're in formation now. We're about to round out the last couple of corners, and I'm going to just push Cohen in front of me down the straight. I don't want a gap to be in between myself and Cohen because that will allow the people on the right to move into that gap, and I don't want that. So we're going to try and stick to Cohen's bumper as much as possible. Wherever he goes, I'm going to go. So flagman waves green, we're good to go. I was a little late on the gas, but you can see that the gap really isn't that big, and we're now right on Cohen's bumper. Going through turn 1, like I said, we're just going to follow Cohen. Going through turn 2, still have the inside, and now we're up into 3rd place. Now unfortunately, going through turn 2, I was going side by side with another kart, and that put me offline. You can see that the gap to myself and Cohen is getting bigger, and he is using Landon's slipstream. Landon's in P1, if you didn't know that. So they are working together at this point, which makes sense. They want to pull away from me, and that's not good for me because you can see I just am not close enough to benefit from their slipstream. Going through the last couple of corners here, I do get a good entrance. My exit is decent, but like I said, you need the slipstream if you want to make any progress, especially down the straight. So at this point, I'm hoping the guy behind me does start working together with me. Going through turn 2, he does give me a push. You can see that's why I went wide through turn 2. So I think he is willing to work together with me, but he's pushing me through the wrong corners, and it's actually kind of slowing me down. Coming out of the chicane, the guy behind me decides to go for the move on me going through 7. I'm going to look for the over-under on him, and he spins out mid-corner. Kind of hard to predict where he was going. I kind of ran into him, lost all my momentum, and now Ava and my brother have passed me. That is my brother in kart 607 in front of me. He taps his helmet. He wants me to work together with him. I'm going to push him down the straight. I want to catch up to Ava. Don't want her to pull away. And I also want to pull away from the people behind because I don't want any more dive bombs. Now, unfortunately, that one guy's mistake going through turn 7 caused both of us to go down 2 positions, so we're in 5th place. Coming out of turn 3, Ava does not get the best of exits. That allows Ben to get right on her bumper coming out of the chicane. I did not get the best of exits coming out of turn 3 either, so going down into turn 7, I closed the gap. I felt that I had better brakes than my brother, so if I need to look for a move on Ben, it's probably going to be in a braking zone. But Ben and I are running very similar kart setups. The only main difference I'd have to say is clutch springs. We were running different clutch springs, so his clutch might be engaging at different points than mine. So unfortunately, you can see Ava is starting to pull away from my brother, and we don't want that to happen. That is 3rd place. We want that podium. So I'm going to try and work together with my brother. Turn 3 is my nemesis. I'm not very good through turn 3, so coming out of the chicane up ahead, we're going to look behind me as kart number 12 is going to go for attempt number 2 through turn 7, and he's going to be a little greedy. He's going to try and go for the double overtake. Doesn't work at all, and my brother and I get the over-under. Coming through turns 8 and 9, I am side by side with him, and I am put offline, and that allows my brother to pull away. So yet again, kart number 12 trying to go for the move through turn 7, and he just spaces out a whole lot. Ava's really far ahead now. Ben's got a large gap between myself and him, and the gap behind, thankfully, is also quite large, so I don't have to worry about him anymore. I just got to try and catch up to Ben. He's not that far ahead, so hopefully I can catch up to Ben, work together with him, try and pull away from the people behind, prevent all this dive bombing, and maybe catch up to Ava in 3rd, and maybe look for a podium. So I'm going to look to catch up to Ben mainly through the last 3 corners. I know I'm definitely have better brakes than him going through turn 7, and I've noticed that coming through turns 8 and 9, he will get a little sideways sometimes, so I'm going to try and use that to my advantage. He is better than me going through turn 3, and that's really the most important corner on the track, so I'm going to try and be a little more consistent, put down the quality laps, and try and get on his bumper. Now, the three main things I remember about this race is that it was very grippy, very hot, and very windy. Now, the heat and the grippiness caused the tires to overheat very quickly, or not very quickly, just faster. And so you had to go on lower tire pressures. Also, the grippiness caused the kart to hop through some corners, so we also had to wrestle with the kart, make sure to keep things smooth. But the main thing really for me was the wind. Because it was so windy, the slipstream was just that more valuable. So once you got behind someone, you really had an advantage over them, especially since we're in 206s, because these karts have such low horsepower, the wind really has a strong effect. Also, I'm about 6'2", so, compared to other people who are much shorter than me, I'm like a freaking sailboat out there. So going down the straight here, you can see the gap to my brother has not gotten smaller, but going through turn 7 here, you can see I definitely closed the gap down more than normal, and coming through turns 8 and 9 here, I think I got the corner a little better than him, but coming out of the corner, I looked down, looked beside me, put my hand up in frustration because the engine kind of cut out coming out of the corner. You can see I wasn't quite able to get on my brother's bumper as I wanted to. Now, I thought that since going through turns 8 and 9, maybe my foot slipped off the throttle, wasn't a big deal, so I didn't think too much of it. But going through the chicane here, it's going to happen again. I'm going to look down at my throttle cable, make sure it's not caught in anything, because you see my brother is pulling away from me coming out of the corners. Going through turn 7 here, I brake nice and late, and going through turns 8 and 9 here, Ben gets a little sideways, so I do catch up to him, but like I said, it happened again, and I really could not figure out what was happening with my kart. It was feeling like it was getting a little worse, because you can see that Ben is able to pull away from me coming out of the straight. So my kart is cutting out coming out of turns 9 and the chicane. Now, at this point, if it continues to happen, I'm going to just retire the kart, because it could be something a little worse than I think, and also, if it keeps doing this, I won't be able to pass anyone, because when I try and go for the pass, it's just going to cut out. So I didn't want it to get worse, and I didn't want to, ruin anything on my kart. So I pulled off to the side coming out of turns 8 and 9 here. I yield P5 to the guy next to me, and sadly, I retired the kart. Now, making this video, I still don't know what's wrong with the kart. I don't have the kart at my house, so I haven't looked over it yet. And at this time, I didn't really feel like looking over the kart because I was quite frustrated with this turnout. If I had to make a guess, I'd have to say either the throttle cable was caught on something, or the carb was just sputtering because I had just the wrong carb setting. So unfortunately, not the end of the race I'd like, but that's all I'm going to have for today. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, please do comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.